Okay, so the next step, obviously, once you've got your prop block, once it's dried, is then to take a pair of blades out of here and form them on the block. So, got two blades. You can sand these if you like. I don't think it's really necessary on these, but you can. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to run these under some water. We're going to get them soaking wet. Okay, now that we have gotten these wet, we're going to form two blades together. But what's important is when you put these on this jig, if you notice this part that comes out further versus the flatter part of the blade faces up like this. This is the front of the propeller blade. So we're going to lay this guy on here, and what we're going to do is we're going to force it to that same curvature. Now, you're going to have trouble twisting this, so what I'm going to do is I'm holding this blade here, and you can see I'm going to let it curve across like this. And that's actually good for the propeller to do that because that gives you a little bit of an airfoil. So we're going to take both blades and we're going to force them to do that. And then we're going to take a piece of paper towel here. I cut it into strips. And we'll wrap this as tightly as possible, which is not what I have done. It's coming loose. But we're going to take masking tape and we're going to force it to hold the curve we want. Now the reason we're using a paper towel is because the masking tape will bond to the blade and then you'll damage the blades getting them loose. Now I'm just going to put a little tab of paper towel over this part. And we've run out there. So we want to force that blade down. So you want to go by feel to make sure the blades are actually holding to that curve that you're after. And I'm actually crushing part of my pitch gauge material, so be careful that you don't cut into this thin balsa that makes up the gauge, or block, sorry. The gauge is the other part. There we go. And so I can go by feel that this blade is constrained all along here. And so when this dries, I'll have a pair of helical pitch propeller blades. And that's that. So you can speed this up by throwing it in the oven. You do have to watch out that the tape is firmly bonded so it doesn't peel off. Or you can just let this dry overnight. And when it comes out, you'll have propeller blades. So we'll resume that step at a later time. Alright, while we are waiting for our propeller pitch gauge, or propeller blades to dry, we're going to take two of these propeller spars out of here. So there we go. So I've got these two propeller spars. Now, there are some methods you can use to taper these. If you notice, I mean, you can see they're tapered in this direction, real thin out here, real thick back here, but they're constant that way. So there are different approaches you can take. If you watch my video, it's linked below, on tapering F1D propeller spars, you can follow that method. Variety of things you can do. One is to just sand them down. Alright, so that actually has those tapered fairly evenly. I'm going to set those down for a minute. Now, we're going to, hopefully by the time you get your kits, we will have found a way to pre-make your propeller shafts, but if not, I'm going to show you how to make a propeller shaft. So we're going to zoom in on this area right here. So I've got my wire. I'm going to take round nose pliers and bend it around like that. And now I'm going to come out like so. I'm going to bend it back around. Please understand, I'm trying to do this looking through the viewfinder of the camera, which is super awkward. Alright, so now I've got that shape. Like that. So now I'm going to come up here and see how I've got it now. I'm going to bend it up. So I now have this shape. And grab it where it's bent up. Like that. And bend it back down. And if you look, you can see that's not quite right, so I'm going to take in here and straighten that part back a little bit, like so. And then I'm going to grab this part and bend it back. Now I've got that shape. So that turns true. What you're looking for is that this part back here stays still as you spin this in your hand. Now, come in here, set this next to your nose bearing, and you want to leave yourself some excess like this. And we're going to bring in a pair of wire snippers, maybe, like that. We're going to snip this off. Take regular needle nose pliers and grab the end, last 1/16 inch of the prop shaft, and just bend it over like so. And that's not been all the way over. Like that. Now take one of your propeller spars, and we're just going to glue it on the 45. I don't know how well that shows up. I'm going to only sand this and maybe you can see the end of it better. There we go. You can see the 45 on that, so kind of a diamond cross section. We're glued in like that. Now you can, I recommend, you take the wire and you actually press it in here to get a little bit of a groove going on. So I've glued this in place. And so now I have this arrangement. So you can see the top of the wire sitting right there on top. I'm going to take the other spar. So if you notice, I've got the laser cut edge on that side. I'm going to take this one and rotate it around so the laser cut edge is on that side. So they're kind of on opposite sides of the diamond cross section. I'm going to squeeze this together to groove it like that. Up away here. Squirt some CA in. Dip the other end in the CA accelerator. I'm going to bring these together, and they will get to be very good friends. So the important thing is that, and mine's not. So you want the propeller shaft to be perpendicular to that whole assembly, just like that. Now this join is going to take a fair amount of stress, so make sure that's hardened quite a bit. And now at this point you have your complete spar assembly and is ready for the blades to be mounted. So what you will end up doing is you use tape or what have you to lock this propeller shaft in. A second, let me zoom out. In here, like this. And then you'll be able to mount your blade, resting it on here, as we'll find out in just a minute. Okay, so as I was saying, I don't know where that cut off. Yeah, so I used CA to attach this blade. And I've got it set up to where it goes all the way to the tip here. So that means that my blade kind of stops right here, outboard of my spar, or shaft I should say. So this gives us about a PD 1.8 blade. Pitch to diameter ratio is the term. Now I'm going to wrench this around, slide it back down. I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Good thing these have a high minimum weight because I'm adding gobs of weight using the CA glue, especially as heavily as I'm using it. And so I just rest this now. On this one, the blade is not curved a whole lot, so you kind of just want to split the difference. As you can see, I can rock that across. So we went about like that. And we're going to come in here and drip some accelerator in there. And we're good. So now you have a completed blade. See if we can pop this tape loose. And not a completed blade, a completed prop. Okay, now the way that this works is we will load this prop shaft in through the front, rotate it back around, it'll fit in, and it should turn freely, right? Except that there's some issues there. So the way that we address that is we take this Teflon tubing out of here and we cut off a tiny little length of it, about a 1/16 of an inch long. You're going to have to thread this onto that shaft, and this is going to take some patience. But you can do it. It's flexible, so you can pass it on around there and slide it all the way through, like that. So now, I don't know if you can even see the tiny little plastic sleeve. That's your Teflon tubing. And we're going to go back. We're going to slip this guy on here, maybe. There we go. So now, we've got a happy propeller. So at this point you want to weigh your airplane. Our goal is for this airplane to be, and I'm going to have to set this up on top of something because I'm not wanting to behave. It's not level, so you're going to want to do a better job of this than I'm doing, because I'm doing a terrible job here. Set this in here. Now, this airplane is, when I say this airplane is tremendously underweight, I don't think you can fully grasp how underweight. It's 4.5 grams, 4.6. The minimum weight is 8. So you're just going to have to find some place to dump a bunch of clay on this plane. Not quite that much. .9 grams. 7.4. 7.8. 8 grams. 8.039. Now, get that off there. CG currently is all the way back here. And that's not a bad place. I would suggest we're going to take this weight and we put it right back here behind the wing. And it's not going to stay, so we're going to take some CA and we're going to glue it on here, like so. So now, that actually brings the CG forward a little bit, like so. So then we have that.